6:02. You've got the agenda before you. Is there any additions or deletions?
Mommy, can I have some more?
I'd like to add to new business, model the site and grade there and grade.
Model of the site. Any others? Under big camera, there's already a personnel issue there, so put A and B. Anything else? I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended. Second, all in favor? Aye. Approved. At this time, in the spot of this item.
Thank you.
To provide, promote, or facilitate municipal services that meet the community needs while preserving, supporting, and enhancing quality of life for all. Tonight we have a presentation from Charlotte Saban on the Baby Friendly Initiative. Can I have a motion?
I so move the Charlotte Saban Council.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Floor is yours.
So a couple years ago, I think everybody was here except for Matt. Lizanne and I had come and we had presented on making breastfeeding your business. Jonathan was so kind of do an article, and then we went to several businesses within the community. We presented them this binder as well as yourselves. And the purpose of that was to go to businesses, and not only for if customers are coming in to support mom if they are breastfeeding, but also if you have employees and supporting them, potentially writing policies on that and what that would look like, as a business owner. We also encouraged having change tables in the washrooms as well as part of that. So from that, we're looking at doing some follow-up. So just to kind of make you all aware of what's kind of happening. So we have a baby-friendly initiative group now in Digby. So they were meeting in Yarmouth, but there's a few of us moms that have gotten together with public health, and we started meeting in February. And one of our projects that we have taken on is kind of expanding this Make Breastfeeding Your Business. So within the Baby-Friendly Initiative is actually under the World Health Organization guidelines for promoting breastfeeding, but then also there are guidelines in supporting moms who choose to formula feed. So our goal is to look at it as a family and baby-friendly initiative within our community. So whether you breastfeed or you formula feed, we do take quite a huge lens on the breastfeeding, but we also, through this initiative, we want to promote feeding babies wherever that may be. So within that, we are partnering with our age-friendly project that the town municipality was, and I was part of that group in the beginning several years ago when we were a really big group, and spoke with Dawn and Kara. And with the checklist that's going out to the businesses on June 2nd, I think Jensen's going to be passing those out, we've created our own checklist, which you guys would have gotten on Thursday. And not only looking at more of that senior lens that we kind of took with the aging-friendly program from what we found out from the community, it's also us as families and the younger side of things. So what we're going to be presenting to the businesses is our checklist on what we would like to see as families that would make things a little bit easier for us when we're out in the community. So first thing would be just displaying the universal breastfeeding sign, just, saying that we, won't judge, we welcome people to feed baby. That's really all it means. Then having a breastfeeding policy would be great, again, with this binder. The policies are in there as well to start. The town is telling you you have one within your healthy eating policy, which is great. And then also looking at changing the baby. So if you go to a lot of restrooms, if they do have change tables, only in the women's washroom. So that's fine and dandy, but every once in a while, maybe dad might take them out by themselves, or maybe mom's eating and dad can go change the baby. So then they have a little bit of a hard time going in the women's washroom. So having change tables in both washrooms, or if there's a family washroom, then the change table would be in there, which would be really great. Having a space to feed a baby. So whether you're breastfeeding or you're formula feeding, usually around that 6-month range for anybody who has babies, they're just all over the place. They're curious, so if you can, we're going to encourage businesses to have a quieter place just to have less distractions for the baby. Having it easily accessible, so within the guidelines and the things that we found out from the Aging Friendly, that works out great for families that have lots of kids and strollers and car seats and all that fun things, that if you can walk into a place that either has a ramp or automatic doors, it just makes life that much easier. And then within that, if you're using assistive devices, wider hallways or wider spaces between tables, that sort of thing, to get wheelchairs or strollers or lots of babies and that sort of thing getting through, again, it just makes life that much easier. Providing high chairs and booster seats would be really great. Most restaurants in particular are pretty good about that, but if you only have one, then, if you've got 2 kids or, you go with friends, then, usually one's holding. And then also having them safe. So sometimes when you go to restaurants, they may be missing the lap belts, or they're not really cared for very well. So it's, you kind of look at them and then you say, I'll pass. Right?
Even just wiping them down after you use them would be fantastic.
Yeah, so I usually wipe mine down regardless, right? But again, having them so that they're ready to go, because that's just one extra step for a parent who's trying to get everyone organized of, food still on them and that sort of thing. Having a comfy place to sit as well and feed a child. So, having a little bit of a comfier chair would be really great, since you're going to potentially be there for, maybe even upwards to 20 minutes. So just something, or even longer, a little bit comfier for the mom would be, those are just, those would be a little bit better. Let's come over here. So on the back of the sheet, we also gave some different suggestions, and, now entering this world, going on 3.5 years, I've been to some different places, and especially places that are super family or baby orientated, and when you walk into a restroom, it's just like, oh my dear, like, this is, I'll just stay in here, like, this is the best thing ever. So, having a step stool for your little one, holding on to Layla over, a pedestal sink, and, trying to wash their hands, and water's going everywhere. You get it done, but it's just a nightmare. If you have a little step stool, they stand up on it, and you don't have to be, cutting them in half with your arm. Diaper genie, most places they're going to be changing their, their garbage frequently, but sometimes if you're doing number 2, a diaper genie just kind of contains that smell a little bit better.
It's where you put the diapers when they're done.
Clothes.
Yeah.
Container, like you would with your compost.
That's right.
Exactly.
It contains it a bit better. A toddler toilet seat. So again, going to these places that are really baby friendly and having that little seat for your little bums to sit on is really nice. Mine's a big girl, so she doesn't need it. She's probably one of the smallest kids out there. But some kids, they're intimidated by that, right? So, and they're used to a little seat, right? And it gives them confidence. So, and again, if you have 2 and you're trying to do this task with a toddler, but they don't want to use that, and you're holding on to them with this one, so they don't fall in the toilet. It's, you do it, but it's a challenge. Also, with that, I was in one, and they actually had a bumbo, so it's one of those little colorful plastic seats, and you can sit them in there, and they're not right directly on the floor, but again, I could plop him in there and handle her, and I know he's not going to be wandering around the bathroom. They're called bumbos, B-U-M-B-O. Linda?
Never heard, I can't even figure what you're talking about.
Could be either.
It's a rubber.
Mine.
Yeah.
I think it's in the car.
Yeah.
It's a seat, and it's flat on the bottom, but the top part is molded for like the size of a baby's bum. So you put them in and you can kind of click their legs into the side. So then they're in there. You can also strap them in, but usually they're fine with just their
Because
legs.
their bum's down low enough, like almost like an Adirondack chair,
Oh, okay.
that you can't really get out too easily. So they're kind of,
There you go.
yeah, they're in there kind of secure, right?
I've seen those before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I have.
So they're a handy little rig, and then a lot of places they do provide like activities for children. So again, you know, in my bag, you know, you've got a variety pack of different things to keep them busy. But we were talking about like a restaurant was really creative in having, you know, the crayons and you know, the placemat ready to color, but then also having like a little snack ready for the kids. So you know, you're keeping them occupied while you're waiting potentially up towards, you know, 30 minutes or more, right, to eat, and they're hungry, and, you know, keeping them occupied. So again, it just provides a better atmosphere, family environment, and if you kind of do those extra little things, you know, those families are going to want to come back. And a lot of these things, you know, don't cost a significant amount of money either. And as families are traveling, we're thinking more even, you know, we try to promote tourism as one of our kind of economic avenues for us in this community. And when you think about myself traveling or families coming in, you know, where's a family-friendly, baby-friendly environment? So one of my big ideas, and I'm coming to you to see how you think, and we will be presenting to the town as well. Within your website, you do promote the businesses, and I'd like to present to the Board of Trade as well, that within each business that we would actually put icons beside the business as an advertising piece to say, if you put the breastfeeding symbol sign on your door, then you would get that logo. If you have change tables in your washrooms, that would be up there. So people coming into our community, whether they're coming to live or to visit, they can go down this list of different restaurants, for example, and be like, this restaurant has all of these great points. This is the place where we're, Layla, this is the place where we're going to go to eat, because it's going to have the high chairs, it's going to have change tables, you know, they're supporting breastfeeding, all those sorts of things. That's just as a way of advertising, but again, bringing families in. When we travel up the valley, you know, there's only so many places you can go, and even restrooms, and, you know, that don't have change tables, or you get there, or it's at a service, and it can be very frustrating when you think about that. And my brother-in-law and sister-in-law came down, they're like, it's very limiting coming from the city down, like, the particular places you can go, and when a kid has to go, they have to go, right? So that's kind of it in a nutshell of this is one of the projects within our baby-friendly initiative that we wanted to work on, and going forward with the age-friendly and looking at the lens right from the continuum of infancy right up to if you're 100 and you want to go out to eat or go to the bank, that sort of thing. And I've just been to a bank, and they don't have a change table in there. Luckily, Layla only had to use the washroom. But again, if you're there for an appointment and you have to change their bum, or you're going to be there for a while, you're kind of in a pickle. So we're trying to get away from maybe changing babies in car seats or feeding babies in your car when, you know, it'd be a little bit easier to go into the restaurant. Or a friend of mine lives in Dowsonville, so going grocery shopping or the islands, you know, it's quite a chore when you get your two kids. So by the time you get into town, baby could be hungry, or you got to change them, or you need to take a break. So looking at those grocery stores in particular, for her when she's doing grocery shopping, that's just going to be a couple-hour event. So, you know, if grocery stores and different things target those families, you know, it's going to sway people's minds, and I think in a positive way. It's only going to increase business, not decrease.
So in the grocery stores, I kept, do they have a changing table?
Yeah, they do. Yes, they do. Yeah.
In both male and female?
They only have the one.
The family washroom.
It's just the one washroom. Yeah. And but when you if you look at accessibility, you may want the counter to be a bit higher, or if you're going for a universal toilet, you're not going to go now for just the traditional toilet that's quite lower. You're going to go for a little bit higher toilet. So if you're vertically challenged, it actually doesn't work. Or if you're, a toddler, it doesn't work either because they can't get their bum up there again. So you're definitely going to be lifting your toddler, and it's usually going to be a bigger toilet seat as well. So again, that brings a bit of challenge when you're dealing with toddlers, but they're trying to get the accessibility piece in there as well, right? But it doesn't meet everybody's needs, but it meets that higher demand from the accessibility side of things.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Do you have a package I'd be able to give out, like, say, for my mother, for example, maybe the Island Businesses, Laginas, something like that?
Yeah, so this checklist is what we're passing out right at the moment. And Make Breastfeeding Your Business, we can, they just put these together. We haven't received them yet. We just got to grant through
If I can get
health
an
board.
email version of it, I can print it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, you can actually go online and get whatever you want of this. And we'll be getting,
What would I Google?
Make Breastfeeding Your Business. This is actually a provincial program as well.
So how well are we at the hospital?
So in outpatients, they have a change table.
Okay.
But if you actually think about it, for the doctors that we have, the two, so when you walk into the main entrance, that doesn't have a change table, I'm pretty sure. And then the ones right in the doctor's office, that definitely doesn't have a change table.
The new section.
The new section, the community health, does have change tables in all of them, and they do have the signage as well, right on the front, like it's a universal washroom, and it has a change table signage as well.
Now, is your breastfeeding sign the same as what we have at work?
At the
The
community,
one
yeah.
that I keep saying, oh, excuse me?
Oh, you're talking about Lily.
Yeah.
Yes. So that was one of our campaigns through.
I mean, it's wonderful, but I keep getting embarrassed because I keep excusing myself. Like, I think she's so real. You think it's a mother feeding the baby and you're busy. And you say, oh, excuse me, like you're walking through.
So that was 3 years ago. We had a campaign, and they named it Lily, and it's a life-size version of a mom breastfeeding.
That isn't the signs you're talking about then.
No, I'm talking about these signs right here.
Oh, okay.
These little
Okay.
stickers that you can display.
Okay.
And Jill brought up a good point. Like a lot of businesses or convenience stores, you're usually kind of in and out, or you're not going to be there for a long period of time. It doesn't mean that you can't display that sign. It's just a matter of you support maybe your employees, or if someone did come in, you're just supporting the notion that you can feed your baby wherever, whenever, as a right.
It doesn't necessarily mean that you provide a space for that to happen, because obviously like the convenience stores and things like that, they're not going to have that type of environment available, but it just means that if you happen to be coming in and you are, nursing your baby, if you have like one of the carriers or something like that, and, your baby needs to eat, then you're going to be supported. And, if someone else comes in and says, oh, so-and-so is breastfeeding and that's awful, and, the people who own the establishment are going to support you in that decision.
And from this more, we're looking at checklists, like someone might walk in and be like, I need to change my baby, for whatever reason, right? Having the facilities available. And again, for community people, we kind of know where to go, like everyone's got their places to go. Like when we're talking now, like we know which places we will go to make things happen over other places, whether it's changing, feeding, whatever, and where we're going to, maybe start our shopping or where we'll end up, kind of thing, in relation to how our kids are going to be by the end of our shopping. Just because we know which places are going to work best for us, and which, even restaurants are going to be better suited for us as a family. So, with that, we have our niece, who's a family of 7. So Josie.
Ooh,
yeah.
All the population going now.
Yes, they are. So Josie's going to volunteer. So once Jensen passes these out, it's a follow-up that sometimes we always lack with every project we do. So we did the Make Breastfeeding Your Business. So hopefully a lot of businesses will be kind of familiar with some of this stuff. But then showing them the checklist, and then getting Josie to go back and just more of a checklist, just saying, you know, have you done any of these things as kind of a report card? And then again, asking if you think it would be something that we could work together with, that we could put through your website, and I'm going to be asking the town as well, that we could then help businesses kind of be advertised in that way of, you know, are they family friendly?
You think we go into the Digby Area Board of Trade meetings?
Yes.
They do presentations there.
Yeah, we did do one for this, so I need to get a hold of them, and I'll be doing one there as well.
Like I say, you should consider politics. You're a tremendous public speaker.
Yeah.
Relying on my district.
Yeah.
This is great. I remember being 20 years ago discovering that breastfeeding. I moved from Westport to university, and I thought it was the most normal thing.
Yeah.
Plus, I had 7 aunts, right?
Yeah.
And I remember at our restaurant, I thought it was a joke. I'd never heard of anyone being offended by something like that, but apparently, even now, 20 years after that, that actually happens.
Quite often, but it's not. We are not the norm of the formula feeding culture. We're kind of we're the minority in that. Most of the world, if you look at that, they breastfeed, and it is normal. And we had another session, so we're really trying to get away from that slogan of breast is best, but actually breastfeeding is the normal. It's actually not formula feeding. That's a new concept, very new concept. We live in a different world than a lot of places as well, so moms have to go back to work eventually. Moms don't. We are very lucky in this country, or I'm very lucky and fortunate that I can stay home even for the year, regardless of being in this country. But even in the States, it's a whole different epidemic because they don't get the time. They don't get a year off. It's pretty much unheard of unless you are significantly up in the upper class. So, but in our country, it's definitely workable to change that mindset. I think slowly. So we as moms who are breastfeeding, we really want to promote it as normal, and then support moms who are having difficulties, and hopefully that they can get through that hump and feed their baby in a normal way, right? And if they do choose formula, that we do it safely as well.
You gotta remember, you've got culture. It's gonna take a long time.
Yep.
I'll be up front with you. I don't care if you breastfeed. It doesn't bother me a bit. Where I'm not comfortable is the 4-year-olds. When they're no, I'm very, very uncomfortable with that.
Yeah.
In the third world, they're probably the last up to
I'm just saying, to me, that's about. Would I say anything to the woman? No, of course not. But it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah. And
where a child, I shouldn't say a child, but a toddler, a baby, doesn't bother me.
And the average
4-year-old.
The average for us is about 2 years that do continue with it. But I mean, worldly, it's over 3 years for sure. And usually, if a baby weans, for the most part, it's on the mom's part. So much for a number of reasons. Sometimes a baby will wean before that, or a toddler, but usually it's around 3 or it can be upwards to 7. And usually it's like once or twice a day kind of thing. It's not all the time, obviously, because they're getting other foods. But trying to change that culture even within the hospitals. And the initiation rate, I'm actually listening. It's the goal lactation. It's the conference is absolutely phenomenal, and the research is mind blowing, and what breast milk has and does is just absolutely fascinating. Most fascinating ever. But the initiation rate is there for all moms almost. It's really, really high. But there's so many factors again in our culture that get in the way of that mom, which that's what's the most disheartening thing to me, is that moms want to, and these barriers get in the way. And that's what I would like to overcome more than anything, is so that mom feels supported and is able to do it. So, and our rates are actually, they just fall off the chart within those 3 to 5 days, and then within 6 months, most, I think we're only like 20%, 30% within our province.
That's it? The breastfeed?
Yeah.
I'm starting to hear that, because I always was under the impression the vast, of course I live in the world, that's it. I always thought it was the other way, the vast majority.
I actually had a question from my mom that said, and the dad, and they're like, so when do you start introducing formula? The baby's about 6 months. It's like, well, you don't. You start maybe introducing some food, but you don't have to, right? So And like Linda said, it's changing the culture because Linda's generation and even before that, that's when formula was introduced. So that's what you're used to and.
Well, I
marketed
breastfed,
too.
but I was warned very implicitly, you go into that bedroom and you shut the door.
Yeah.
I would never have sat in the living room with my in-laws or anybody else, because that was not the norm.
Yeah.
I had aunt boobs everywhere when I was growing up.
No, but I'm just saying, and you're right, formula had been there.
Yeah.
And formula was the push.
Yeah.
Because formula was supposed to be better.
That's right.
But I was lazy and went with the breast.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's cheaper, right?
Well, and I think part of the problem was that it was not supported in the healthcare system. You know, like when our parents were, you know, going through, it was, you're having a problem, well, just take the formula, right? And there was no, okay, well, it's an easy fix, let's try this. There was none of that. It was, you're having an issue or anything like that, and now you just take the formula. It's easier. Why bother doing that to yourself?
And moms that struggle, it's a big misconception because it's certainly a difficult time when a mom is struggling and they think that formula is easier and it's the way out. But you see all the time of people with stories of the formula is not an easy route because of them, you know, not, doing well with that type of formula and having to try another one and, you know, having issues there. So it definitely looks like the better option if you're struggling, but it's not necessarily the better option. So, but yeah, we're just here to support moms in the breastfeeding, but within this, we're just looking at it as moms, trying to take our kids out in public.
And not die
And, you know, try to be well-behaved little citizens for the most part. And have a meal that you might actually get through it.
But like this is for like from our lens, but for businesses, it also like if you have some of these things, it cuts down on, you know, children freaking out in your establishment. It cuts down on mess. It cuts down on, you know, like if you have a high chair even. You know, you don't have to deal with, you know, actually vacuuming around a whole table because it's all contained. You know, so this is as much for the businesses as it is for us. You know, we're trying to partner with the businesses so that they know what we need as parents to help support us so that, you know, we can come in and it's not this big deal, right? We can just come in and like anybody else and you know, have a good time in their establishment and, you know, not completely disrupt their working day at the same time.
Sorry, this was what we presented to the community health board, so I can pass it around. It just had some quick facts of the initiative itself, so you guys can have.
I just wanted to know that, like, I was going to let council know later on when I gave that update, but we had a Digby library meeting last week.
Hold on one second.
And we are going to be putting a change station in there, just to let you know.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah.
But that's on our capital expenditure for this year. But
Okay, one or two, Jimmy?
one, we have no tech watch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that would be great.
Just to let you know.
Yes.
Anyway, we have to keep going.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
So I appreciate your presentation, and we'll take your word for thought and see what we can do.
Okay, great. Thank you. So can I just, for the website, can I follow up with who?
Staff.
Staff? Okay.
Would it be Linda or Jeff?
Okay, all right, great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Nancy?
Why not?
Just leave it all, get that after.
Why not?
We are going. We're not staying there. This is why I didn't bring that. All our hockey pucks too.
Thank you. Are these yours or is these hers?
Okay, we're going to move on. We've got the minutes for April the 24th. Motion to approve the minutes.
Well, I'll second it.
All right, there we go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. All business,
No, thanks.
Any old business?
I thought you left the room for a second.
No, I went and got more tea. My first old business is, are we, or has a decision been made about the tickets for the Board of Trade Business Awards on June 8th.
Pat's tried to reach out to the chair. She tried calling me several times. I just gave her email address
For Karen, okay.
and she's going to email her. So Karen had reached out to me last week by email, and I thought that it's all done. So I just told her I would talk to staff and find out. We are going to have tickets, but
So do we know how many's going? Or?
well, I know I'm going, but George is going.
I'm going, I'm on board. I just told you, Pat, so I guess we're all going. Well, you, Jeff, you making a scene? Making a scene now.
I think we're going to wait and see on whether they were doing tables anymore, and what was the option for tickets.
So you go up to 10 to a table.
They want to do a table.
Or you can chill out with
They will.
Yeah. We can go to 10 or we can go down 8.
Eight to 10.
from the hop. I want to do that.
8 to 10.
We'll purchase the number that we. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are they? Are they expensive? Or?
Around $50.
Well, it's a good organization. Does a lot.
Well, the time it takes to meet with that, it's going to chew up most of it.
And my other old business was the derelict vote in San Diego.
Still
I'll get
there.
some more emails again, because it's now going into summer and we're concerned. Now, we've, sent a letter, we sent a letter in the fall, and then follow-up letter just in May. Who do we think it may belong to? The widow of who we think it belongs to. She had indicated by phone that she thought her son had given it away, to someone, that we didn't know who. So that's why we followed up with another letter stating that, please identify whether this is yours or not, because we are going to investigate the cost of having it removed. I think we want to make sure that they sign off on it maybe before we do this. We don't want somebody to come back and say, so it's ongoing, but we're trying to determine, get this person to say, we don't want it, we can take it. So it's still going. I know, it's just.
No, it's just since I've been elected almost, I think. Seems
It's been a long
like
time, yeah.
vote. It's been one vote after another anyway since I've been.
Is there anything else?
And those are my 2 things.
Okay. I have no old business, so we're going to go now to new business. The CHF partnership with co-op housing. I don't think we have any suitable municipal lands that would fit that register, to be honest.
I didn't either.
So we can just, I don't know.
Yeah, nothing near Digby or population centers.
We don't have any land.
Should we just send a letter stating that we just don't have any?
I'd say we could just send them a letter, just letting them know that we don't have any municipal property that would be suited for any housing.
So I think it's a wonderful project.
Yeah, it's a nice project. Okay, the next is Atlantic Sports Car Club use of airport. This request came in because of our insurance issues with the airport. Yeah, I was just gonna say, it's just a preamble on it, but it's just, I noticed in their request, they do have insurance, but I still think that based on what we told the Warcraft Rally, I don't know, I wanna see what council feels.
Okay, that was what I was gonna bring up. Where they have insurance and they name this, does that make the difference?
Yeah.
The gap in insurance, if you can picture a literal gap with your hands, so the gap we had for exposure with Warcraft, let's say, was this big.
Yeah.
By having their own insurance and it covering the show part of their event and the race and us being named, we have closed the gap significantly. There is nothing that can happen to eliminate it. We have narrowed it. It is the best way that the insurance.
It is a feasible thing then.
There is
Some inherent risk.
There is some inherent risk. Again, they're racing against the time. This event hasn't had incidents at the airport. However, similar to Warfrat, it's not a perfect overlap. That just doesn't exist in this case. But with the insurance they have and being in their name, it did cover off some of the areas of concern that the Warfrat had a general overall one, nothing specific, where these guys have the specific event coverage. So we've consulted with our insurance to understand just That was kind of where that explanation came from, that we've narrowed it. It's not a perfect overlap.
So I would personally be for it.
How do you feel about that?
I really hate for us to say no to all these organizations and make fuller use of, municipal infrastructure, especially when it's bringing in, a significant amount of money and interest and puts us on the map a little bit. I would have to have maybe more details on the insurance, like what is a little bit? Is it like...
Well, just, we own the property,
Yep.
right? There's nothing you can do with your home that's going to prevent you from being named in a lawsuit.
No.
Exact
They
same
call it
situation
right.
here. No matter what they do,
They'll
we
still
can't
look
do
at
anything. We're a big fish in the litigation pool, right?
Mhm.
We are going to get named. Is there potential? There's a gap in our airport policy and our liability policy. We're trying to cover that as best we can by being named on their policy, but there's still a gap there that one of our insurance companies is going to say it's not ours, and the other one's going to say it's not ours, right? That's what our two insurance companies are going to say. So that's why we're being named on theirs,
Okay.
right? So it's not a perfect, that's, in theory, being named on theirs covers that gap, but we
To
still...
the amount of $5 million, which is quite a good amount based on civil litigation in the province right now.
It is.
Okay, I'm
Governments and them do that. I mean,
I'm
they
comfortable
have
with
their
that.
shares and stuff like that all the time.
$5 million.
Airport-related event. That's the same with our insurance. It's airport-related event. So anything outside of an airport-related event, that's where
That's the
the
issue is.
liability issues that we face. That's where the gap is.
I'm good with the
You
yes.
can't give it to them if we don't give it to everybody else.
No, you can't. No, I disagree with that.
It's that
They
it
got the
wasn't
insurance.
specific. Yeah.
That's what I'm going by.
It's not apples and
That's
apples.
it. Wharf-Rat had an overall, if you fall on Water Street or walking into one of the vendor booths, there was no way to establish full disclosure in Wharf-Rat. Are they telling their insurers how they're running that event? There's no way to disclose it where these guys have specific, they have to name the kind of course, the date, the location. They do that for all these courses that they run, and that's in the policy. So it's disclosing the information so the insurer, the big concern with Wharf-Rat is that they're insured. They could add us as a named insured. Their insurer comes back and says, we don't insure time trial events at the
Does
airport.
Warcraft know this then?
Yes,
Okay, so for next year, it'll be something that we can do for them.
potentially. It's not as specific an area of coverage as this is. They're still more challenging for them, where these guys are a car race club that can get car race event insurance.
Yeah, this is just a bunch of people with their cars parked there. Is there? I didn't see anything. No, there's no races.
Is there?
There's a time trial event course against the clock, not against other cars, and there's a show component to both
And
components.
if someone doesn't follow the rules, they're gone.
This is a highly regulated club because of the insurance, right? These are not, I don't want to say it, your 19-year-olds with hot rods are not the members of this club. This would be I don't know how to politically correctly say it, an older membership club who's looking to race their fast cars.
Like I said, I'm really for it. I mean, they're holding non-Ds, a lot of them at CFB Shearwater. To me, it's,
Business
like
closer
I
to
said,
us.
when I saw the insurance for me, I was happy.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that it's not the best way to look at the municipal airport as a part of its events is it's not to do with the event or that it's being used, is to do with how is the insurance work. And also this is an example for Warcraft next year, maybe that they should have it as a separate event entirely, so it can be insurable rather than part of a broad, right, maybe be something that they can look into. Because I would like to see it go back too, because municipal infrastructure is made to be used, right? In order, I think you'd want to try your best that it would be.
So I'm gonna make a motion, maybe somebody will, maybe they won't. I so move that the Atlantic Sports Car Club have use of our airport for their events.
I'll second that.
Okay, George, you haven't spoken on it yet.
Yeah, no, I feel it's a real shame that we have to turn these people away from events that we want to host in the municipality. And I do realize insurance is a big thing, the liability. I see the Warfront rally as being a little more broader, not as well defined as this race. They do this all over the country. So I guess I would go along with it. I would like to say this.
Okay, one concern I have, I want to know, is it possible, Jeff, for them to increase their liability insurance from 5 million up to maybe say 10 million, and what the cost would be to them, or it would be too much of a burden on them? Because $5 million today sounds like a lot of money. $5 million today is not a lot of money. The person that gets killed, the doctor at 35 years old, to the family. So when you're talking about liability, and when you're saying there's still risk, I'm sorry, but I've got to think about the whole risk piece. And if they were able to have enough insurance or adequate insurance, some people may say $5 million is a lot, but you know, in today's world, $5 million is a lot of money. So.
We could ask. I don't believe that's obtainable. I don't believe that's what our policies are. Normally, government policies cap out at 5. The regular in non-for-profits and regular side of business is 2. 10 is potentially unobtainable even for quote, but like I say, ours is 5, I do believe, for us, which is, like I say, that's pretty much a government number that is used as a high number.
If 5 isn't adequate for them, then 5 certainly isn't adequate for us.
Well, today's world, it's not.
Well, it's
That might be something to think about.
considered a high number in this province.
It is at this time. I haven't seen it go. I haven't
No,
noticed
I
anything
mean,
about 3 million.
most car people, you're going to find, most cars are at 1 and not even 2.
Ours are 3. Mine's 3 because
Well,
kids driving
I'm
kids.
just saying, I'm just throwing that out as being cautionary on it, because I think that the liability, if they could max it, whatever the event liability could be, it might only cost them $200 more, and to increase it. I don't know, I'm just saying, when you get liability insurance, once you get to a certain threshold, and if the insurer doesn't feel that it's a big risk, the cost to go up a bit more wouldn't be that much more money, I wouldn't think. But
I carry some liability, and I find, the higher you go, that's a lot more expensive.
Yeah, it is expensive.
Yeah, ours is 3 million. Drive kids.
So much more than $150 for a Model A. That's the other bit. It can't be done well.
okay, well, there's a motion on the floor, and second, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna say nay, because I'm still nervous about it. It's approved. Okay, Digby next fire department, fire hydrant,
I don't remember fire hydrant being money. It must have been before my time.
It
It
is.
was before your time.
Do they have fire hydrants? Give me next.
So they're dry hydrants.
Good job.
They're-
Which is what? What's the
Okay,
driver?
you know the pond down in Gilbert's Cove?
Yep.
I own that pond there, right? It's got a dry hydrant. It means the fire department can go up and hook a line up to a pipe and
They got one on Westport.
right there.
Yeah, they got one on Westport too, back at the bottom.
They're normally white here. Yeah, they look more like this.
Yeah, one on the
this one
left-hand
here.
corner with the water. See how it's just a pipe
Yeah.
that goes down into the body of water,
Okay.
and they just take and hook the fire truck up to the top, suck the water out. And back in the day, when the municipality helped the fund put these in, I don't believe CouncilMeetingMay took it up at that time.
No, they didn't.
So now they put in a request for dry hydrants. And at the time, I think our policy was for 2 dry hydrants per fire district.
Was it 2?
Yeah.
I looked back in our records, because I think this was before my time, but I actually put a call into Brian Collins.
Okay.
And Brian remembered right off, he said it was a grant program that the municipality provided. It was up to $3,000, which was 2, because they were at the time $1,500 each. And that the grant was provided to the fire department, and they're the ones that installed it and were to maintain it. So that was the program that he was on. But it was 2.
Okay. I knew we had done them for a lot of the districts.
Westport put in one last year. They built a pond and put it in dry hot. They did the whole thing. I think they did the whole thing themselves. Well, I don't, just that can of worms aspect.
In a separate or unrelated request, but coming out of the same fire services meeting, the Digby Fire Department has called to make us aware that there's one of these in Cloden that is not functioning,
Yeah.
that they don't consider theirs, basically, they consider it ours because it's in the municipality.
They were supposed
Well,
to run and
the
keep them up.
fire department that put it in.
There is no memory of that.
I remember.
I can only relay the information as it was presented to me.
Okay, if I was part of that deal.
That's when experience comes in handy.
So that's what we were hoping, so that is a discussion that is ongoing.
Okay, that fire hydrant was put in for the Digby Fire Department. Fire Department. We gave the money, but I thought they did it all.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
We gave them the money.
That's what Brian just left.
Yeah, well, we didn't give that because there's actually, there was two of them, and I think now there's the one that's not functioning, or they were gonna put in two, but that's why when you said the district, I know in Cologne, they were gonna put two.
Yeah, it was not for district, I think it was for fire department.
Yeah, but
I think
they have a lot more, they did have a dry hydrant, on Lighthouse Road, and they had one, on Shore Road.
Yeah, well, put in two for district, yes. Well, no, at that time.
But
no.
that's what I'm saying, the Digby Fire Department, that's a lot more than two. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm hoping that there is some money that we could help with this. I don't want fires on my district.
Well,
Yeah, when you do it, when someone applies for a program that's been gone for 12 years.
Well, they didn't get to use it before.
they've asked for some help, wondering about funding to help with the cost of installation. It's not basically saying that we have to pay the whole cost. So,
Well, they're just wondering what is about funding to help with the cost of insulation. They're wondering how much would be available.
They use the ones on the islands all the time. They're really handy, especially during a fire, because a lot of these pumper trucks aren't very large. And it was just back and forth, for example, in Tiverton, straight to the pumper.
Yeah.
What's the installation cost, any ideas? I know it's gonna vary probably, but approximately.
I don't know, but I think
Probably a
that's,
day's work. I would
Yeah,
say.
the day's work and the materials themselves are $1,800.
So we do the day's work. That seems reasonable. But they have to agree to keep it up and stuff.
well, no, I was thinking more in lines of, giving them $3,000 for two, and that's $1,500 each, that's what we did before.
And they never use it, so it went back to us the money.
We got the
First
money,
place.
we would've got the money back, so we're just
Oh, yeah,
we're gonna provide the money.
So then what all right, I'll make a motion
Yep.
that we give $3,000, towards the, cost of installation for the 3 hydrants.
Second.
Yeah, under what, so this will have to be in addition to our budget. We don't normally budget for this.
This is kind of a grants to organizations, but
It's
it's,
not at the end of the fire somehow. I
We
don't
have to
think.
add that because we provide the grant to the fire departments. And that's.
what
that's
kind of
based
line
on
item
formula.
and all that, yeah.
So,
5 cents, right now they're asking for something that's not there, so basically we have to, community.
Well, no, because this is from before.
This isn't to deal with the
This is
capital.
not to do with the budget. All the departments have, okay.
Oh, they're really handy, especially during a fire.
I mean, I can add $3,000 to the budget, and that's no problem, but I just, I'll find under
What to
fire.
take it.
I think under fire, like, no.
I have to, yeah.
It's a little bit of a can of worms being opened, a little bit.
Maybe
Yeah.
the other fire departments.
Say, hey, we didn't pay, we didn't get both
But
ours
they didn't
either.
get it, and that's what we can
But
do.
maybe there's others that didn't get it either.
I mean, 10 years ago, but I applied for something and missed it.
It's tough luck, yeah.
Yeah, but.
Assuming we would.
But now we're talking about
budget
safety
at that
too.
time, yeah, because it would have been significant.
Yeah, I'm supposed to have it.
Well, that's different. We got the money for it, and you pick someone else, that's different.
I'd look the other way and be in 10 years too late, simply because people's lives matter. It's a safety thing, and there's already all kinds of problems with fire departments out there anyway, from the aging population,
Yeah, I had no problem.
no volunteers, so.
Everybody else come to the meeting and say, oh, well,
Yeah, I got something 20 years later also.
I think actually most of the municipality was covered at one time, and there may be pockets that weren't, but I think it's important that we support them on that, because it's very important to have dry hydrants and have a water supply when there's a fire.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
you look at Digby Neck, no offense,
No.
but if you had a fire coming out of there, there's nowhere to go, you know.
Oh, they have no dry hydrants at all?
You need it.
You need it.
They have
It's
no
a-
dry
It's not there.
So what's their plan for getting water? They have a tube that they
Who's
throw in
responsible
the...
for maintaining it?
They will be,
Yeah, the fire
they will be,
department.
same as the others.
That's what the agreement was before. So, you've made the motion, and it was seconded.
I did.
All in favor?
I
Approved. Thank you.
hate the can of worms, but I also hate people burning through that. So
So that's
property
$3,000.
destroyed. So, you do, right?
Next one is recommendation for janitorial contract, and,
I'll make
I shall move that we accept the recommendation of,
What was it?
Sean Nickerson's Spotless Enterprises for $17,940 for the next 5 years.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Is that the same person we have now?
Yes.
Yes.
They're very nice.
They're doing a good job.
It's nice to clean hair.
Yeah, something. I need to check.
Yep. And I think increased $1 a month.
$1 a month, that's
And
what you increased
locked it in for
$12
5
a year.
years, something like that.
Wow,
It's
dude.
a
That's a way to
very,
get a contract pretty easy.
Jeff negotiated that.
Okay, we're gonna move on. And they just informed me that there's one thing that never got added to the agenda that we need to add, so it's time to be under new business after eight point
Take
five.
me a second to find it.
Yeah, it'll be 8.6, it's a contract for Smith Cove for the upgrades to sewer.
Oh, I did see that in this.
Is it in?
No, it's not. There's,
I think it was in her report.
report,
It was in
okay.
the CAO report.
Oh, yeah, because,
It didn't
Yeah, remember-
make it into the agenda.
Okay, what I want to bring up about the modular site in the grave, is with moving Maudie, there is a lot of people wanting to know a lot about it.
Mhm.
I had a lady, email me and called me from Bridgewater, she has a group that wants to come out. They want to know where the grave is. I spoke to Rob about it, but we need some signage for the grave.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we need something at her site, that people can sign, somehow that we know
Interact with.
the interact, I don't care how, there's gotta be something,
Like a gift book?
yeah, but something, you know how you go in these places?
What Rob's been working on.
Oh, okay.
And is two things, he's got signage, I think already that is at the gravesite, or is going to be put at the gravesite right away.
Oh, good.
What they're doing at the site itself is having those scanned.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what he's gonna talk about, this little
So,
wire
and you
key.
can just scan it and it'll bring right up where the cemetery, where the gravesite is.
Okay.
So those are, and he's got a
Is
bench.
there anything that they can scan and we'll know that we've had that many people there? I'm just asking,
I don't think that can be.
Okay.
Now that the movie's up there, and people know about it,
Yeah, they
I think we should have to
usually
come back.
Yeah, but you can tell.
Why they could ever take the house out of our community, and put it in Halifax, and
Well,
leave it
it's
with nothing other than a little structure there.
possible.
Little bit of prison.
Yeah, big time.
Even if they had an exact replica.
See, I'm just
It was
trying, and
more
I mean,
rusty
I was
than that
reading the
one
other
did.
night, Murray Ross's daughter put on that they're expecting a busy time at his place this summer, because his really looks like Wazois.
Yeah.
yeah, I think he's seen an increase in traffic already.
Too bad we couldn't
from-
drag that out and put it next to the awful one that no one likes. Maybe we could give him a few bucks. Why, is that impossible?
Okay, sorry, David, you had your hand up.
Yeah, this actually might be something maybe, I wouldn't mind hearing Rob's thoughts on this, signage and stuff like that, interaction with the population sounds good. Let's be, the spry, reactive municipal government and take advantage of this, publicity. Is there anything maybe even beyond, this might be one of those popular buttons to grab. Pardon?
I think our tourism association, George, you sit on on that, you've done some work with that already, have you not? Where you've been talking about it?
It's one of the
Not that I
missing
remember.
No?
opportunities.
Because when they did Southgate, they changed the banner, I guess,
Oh, yeah.
and then they had a flock of people go to the booth, so hopefully they do something. Now, I just want to give you, I went by there, when was it, 2 nights ago, and actually, I had 2 different people stop at our store and ask me directions on how to find it.
Really?
Yes, and when I went by there were 3 carloads of people there, and there was people all over the place, looking it all over. And I went by there when I came up from Yarmouth today, I was down there for a Berlin meeting, and there was a car there, and there was a guy looking at the building, and so there's getting a lot of activity around the site right now.
It's gravel, so
Especially the grades.
Yeah.
Where is the grade?
They took.
North Range.
And I wonder if we could, oh, sorry.
They took the gravel that was there, the pile gravel, and they leveled it off in the yard, so it doesn't go right down, and the lawn level, it's really nice condition. But
The flowers and the flower beds and stuff like that. It's
Everything
nice
looks
to drive
nice.
by. It's really-
it does.
Everything's done a good job.
Just, and then on that same note though, I want to briefly tell you about it, but I'll give you more information later on. I'm on the planning committee for the Library Board Association of Associates in conference with the Nova Scotia Library Association as well. And the conference is going to be this year in Annapolis County. It's going to be actually at the Annapolis Station Conference Center in September. And it's going to be open to the public for anybody to come in for any of the author readings. And we've got Lance Wolver coming in to speak, to be one of the authors to speak about a new book he just came out with, He wrote several books. He's been involved pretty heavily with putting a documentary out. Anyway, that evening, we're looking at trying to get the ability to show the movie in the theater at the Cornwallis, which would be open to the public as well. So, if that comes to be, anyway, it's not till September. But as far as how we can promote mod for here, I think the thing is like, we got to find out, we can't step on other people's toes, we got to find out what our local tourism association is doing. And maybe George, you can bring that up at the next meeting.
I wouldn't mind seeing Rob even write something that would come up on Google. Someone did Google Maud Lewis local attractions and just have maybe like a simple little page or something like that. I don't know if that's doable.
It seems like I'm stealing David's idea now, but I can investigate with Rob the option of getting the Maud Lewis page up on our website. Like we could gather some of the facts, gather the map, the map to the gravesite, even a map to where that is on the 101. We can put the information on it.
Where her
It won't
husband
be a
fished
lot
out.
of work.
Things like that too.
Yeah, to be right, we can provide links to the art gallery information. Like there's some other links we can take people to, but I think we could do that and be.
Would we be allowed to mention the one on the neck, that there's a replica house?
Of course, I hope so.
I'm just asking.
I think he doesn't charge, right?
No.
Or
No, he has donations or something.
something. We could check just to make sure we're not totally promoting a private business. But we can check on that when we see. But I thought someone had thought he had stopped charging for a while. Maybe this year he'll start. But
He had never charged as far as I
Okay.
know.
Yeah, locations of interest would include, you could use your imagination in there too, like where the husband fished out of, those sorts of stuff.
Okay. And I know right now Yarmouth is trying to,
Act like it's theirs?
yeah.
Oh, really?
Sure.
Yeah, because she was born down in Iowa or somewhere.
Yeah, but
Anyway, they're doing it through the art gallery and right? But another thing I wanted to mention to you, when I was in Halifax meeting with the Minister and Deputy Minister for Community Culture and Heritage, I raised the question of why we can't showcase Nova Scotia art in our libraries. They're sitting on rooms full of stuff that's not even displayed.
Yeah.
So they were receptive to considering that. So I said, if we did that, then maybe we could have like a nice mod exhibition in our library. Some of the art that Nova Scotia Art Gallery owns.
A painting sold for $45,000 the other day that turned up in a thrift shop.
Yeah, no, Ontario. Anyway, we'll see what we can do with that. The next thing is a contract for the Smithville Sewer Works.
All right, so the tenders closed, late last week, I think it was Thursday, for the sewer extension in Smiths Cove on the Smiths Cove Crossroad and Sunset Drive. We had it was a public tender opening, we had three companies that put in tenders, DJ Low, MR Pool, and Dexter. And we sent the results through to our engineer, EXP, and they are recommending that council accept the lowest bid from DJ Low, which is in the amount of, with the 4HST, $510,957.50. So the second closest was Pool, and they were $519. 132, and the last one was $697,103. Now, all three of those are significantly above the budget and what we had proposed, and what we had applied for funding. So we have funding from with the province and the Fed for $345,225, so that our share is going to go up. So over $118,000 over what we expected. Now, included in that, though, are a lot of contingencies and provisional items. Like if there's a $35,000 contingency that's on all of them, that may or may not be used. There's also quite a lot of provisional items for how much asphalt we may have to use or may not have to use. So it could be.
Well, it's an interesting way to.
Less than that. You have to do that. Well, we have to replace any asphalt that we just.
Oh, of course,
So that's in there, so when you factor in the engineering fees, we're at $118,000, but, I mean, and I think that is very similar to what we expected and what was indicated when we met with TIR, and they were talking about how the asphalt prices.
Yeah, they've gone up a lot, 40%.
I have a question. Does this contract also have a provision that they're going to drill so that they don't impact the asphalt anymore possible?
I think everything that's going to be done is going to be done on the side of the road where the laterals will be, but it's not, it didn't include directional drilling.
It was left to their discretion. The asphalt on both sections of road is in such atrocious state. The biggest problem we're going to have is tying back into our asphalt will be the best asphalt on the road. So directional drilling was left as an option. Their contractor may choose to do it, and they may choose to cut across the road.
It's garbage asphalt.
The reason why I asked is I know in the past we've used drilling.
We do when pavement's in good shape.
Is that price over and above what we had budgeted for, or is that just our share? You would say it was over.
It's over. We had budgeted about $460,000. That was based on estimates that were done probably over a year ago.
Yeah.
We had applied for this funds last year, so those estimates were, I think, done actually a year in April when we applied.
So that 118, that's our share.
It'll be all our
The total.
So that we get extra 50 grand to come up from this, does it go into some general?
Well, actually, the full amount, like the province, they don't up theirs, so they're set at what they're paid. So ours will come out of our capital reserves.
Oh, capital reserves, of course.
We can't use the gas tax funds because it's considered a whole different, it's one of those kind of projects where you're not allowed to.
Find a way.
Something saying when you replace the asphalt that it's going to be so much. I mean, I've seen so much work before, and everywhere you go, there's a tip in the, you can tell exactly where the pipes are because it's now a speed bump. That's my only thing, right? Like, some of these guys come in a little lower because they're going to put not much asphalt in the holes.
I think, EXP will have an inspector there.
Yeah, we've got a full-time on-site inspector, and we brought up with TR, our biggest concern is the Smiths Cove Crossing Road, the road into the Jaggers Point campground. Their biggest issue is going to be that there's not much good road to connect back to, right? Our road, if TIR had a more flexible budget, we would co-pave the road, would be the most sensible thing to do, but PIR doesn't have that flexibility in their budgets these days, right? But that again is going to be the single biggest issue that they're going to have. On that one, we're lucky there's no crosscuts because all the houses are on the upper side of that road, and there's only 2 or 3 crosscuts on the Smith Cove one. So it's not going to be similar to the issues at like Through Town or some of the other issues.
And I think on Smith Cove Cross, we had hoped that the lot would be done in shoulder, but there's not much shoulder there. I think we actually done on site to work. We're hoping that this is like an 8-week schedule, so as soon as notice goes, they have 8 weeks to get it done.
All right, any other questions? Have a motion to accept the lowest tender from DJO for the amount of $510,957.50.
I so moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Leslie Justin.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
Thank you.
I forgot one thing. I had our things wrote, but I forgot to ask permission. On June the 10th, Shore Road is being cleaned up.
The guy called me.
Pardon me?
You were away and the guy called me.
Yeah, well, call me too. I just want to get permission that we will pay for the tipping fee. Already done?
No, that's already been done, but,
Yeah, that's
it.
okay.
Yeah, they contacted me too, so I've been in touch. I've been in touch with Greg, and it's been done, and Greg is in the process of coordinating with them to donate the dumpster.
Okay.
Tipping fees are waived.
All right.
They're in touch with Greg directly to line up their dumpster and the pickup and drop off fees.
The guy that contacted me had already been talking to Waste Check.
Yeah, he was talking to Richie.
And he called me, and I mentioned to him how he's worked in the past with Greg, and we waived the tipping fees. So, and I also asked him to contact Jeff at the office here, and that's me.
I'm working on the same similar thing for June 1st for Mill Crossroad. And I just haven't got a hold of Greg yet with tipping fees. I got a hold of yeah. So yeah, I got a hold of Waste Check this morning, and I was already up to DOT and signed the form to write on some stuff too. So
So we do the tipping fees, and then Greg, depending on how much you're going to have, he usually either brings a dumpster on site, or if you think you've got mostly stuff that's going to be bagged up, he'll just suggest, okay, bag it here and give me your date, and I'll come out and pick it up. But that part of it is his donation. The tipping fees is ours.
okay. I figured I'll organize something on the first. They want to do it on the first. I'm like,
course.
we're going to be getting on a walk.
Yeah.
So I won't be there for it. I've got a Marie McKenzie and a bunch of this work.
Right on. Jeez, volunteers. Aaron, I see you on the islands and stuff.
Pathfinders, and we'll have 2 kids, we'll have a bunch of people. That was a good one to set it up, so she'll be there.
Okay, anything else? If not, we're going to move on to Chief Administrative Officer's report. I'll go through the meeting reminders. May 29th at 6 p.m. is a joint council meeting with the town of Digby. It's important that everybody goes to this meeting. We've got the RTMP coming in to give a final report on fishing review.
I just may add that I had an email today from the Department of Justice, and they've asked that I, for the presentation, invite their counsel to it, because they're
Part of the review.
so they wanted to give it all, they wanted to just give the presentation once. So anyway, I sent an email just this evening to put that on, so whether or not they can make it or not.
June 5th, there's no meeting. By the way, the joint council meeting is going to be here. And June the 12th at 5 p.m. we have committee of the whole. June 14th at 6 p.m. is the joint police advisory board meeting. So, that's going to be at the town hall. June 19th at 4:30 p.m. file on policy. June 19th at 7 p.m. a joint council meeting that we're going to have in Clare at the Clare Council Chambers. On June the 26th at 6 p.m. we have a regular council meeting here. And for the summer meeting schedule, July 3rd and 10th there's no meeting. July 17th at 5 p.m. we're going to have an audit committee meeting. I take it with the auditor. On July the 24th at 6 p.m., we have our regular council. July 31st and August the 7th, there's no meetings. August the 14th at 5 p.m., we have committee of the whole. August 21st, August 28th, and September the 4th, there's no meetings. On September the 11th at 5 p.m., we have committee of the whole. September 18th at 5 p.m., we have our meeting with CIR, and 6 p.m. we have a bylaw and policy meeting. And on September the 25th at 6 p.m., we have our council meeting. Okay. Next thing to do is the request for decisions or direction. And there's nothing there. Update on action items. Any questions? Maybe you can highlight basically on the RTP, and it's the biggest thing there. Update on capital projects, we'll get started with that. Update on corporate now priorities. There really isn't any changes yet.
Well, there actually are some, and then a suggestion that was made at bylaw and policy that keep the sort of the completed, the track of the completed items.
Yeah.
So you'll see on the bottom of this report that I provide to council. It's not on the priority account, but it's on this report that I provide to council. You can keep sort of keep going right on the bottom. Oh,
Must be on the other.
that's the priority account. No. There. Yeah. Keep going up. They're sort of completed, the completed items.
Love it.
And what I did was, even though the rural internet, the funding application was identified as a now priority, I'm keeping that in the now because there'll be ongoing, not just the application, but there'll be ongoing. So I just kept that on as a now.
Any questions? If not, we'll go now for the approval of the payables of $917,668.87. Motion to approve?
So motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approved. Okay. Moving on, we've had correspondence. You've had a chance to read it from CIR regarding the reduced speed limit in school areas. We had correspondence from the golf tournament, Transport to Clear. When I read that, I felt that maybe we could, put teams in the golf tournament anymore, but we could give them maybe a
$200 donation?
no, I'm thinking maybe for like a prize.
They're looking for prize.
They're also prizes, we can give them maybe a couple of t-shirts or something like that. They can give them for prizes, is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. Then you've seen the response to the UNSM from Deputy Minister Kellyanne Dean. Got a chance to read that. That was regarding the 12-month notice. Next thing, standing committees of council recommendations. There was no bylaw policy recommendation. There was no committee of the whole recommendation.
When's our next? Never mind. DAC wasn't saying, hasn't been said, has it?
Well, it wasn't mentioned tonight. Advisory committees, reports and updates. The Digby Source Water Protection Advisory Committee, Councilor Ross, has there been a meeting?
No.
Okay. Heritage Advisory Committee, Deputy Warden Gregory, Councilor Ross, has there been a meeting?
No.
Planning Advisory Committee, Deputy Warden Gregory, Councilor Ross, and Susan. There's been no meetings since last council meeting. Joint RCMP Advisory Board, Deputy Warden Gregory, Councilor Ross.
The biggest thing that I do want to mention, they have had May 17th, they had a police advisory to the province meeting, and those minutes are coming down, and they'll be,
The package was just these advisory.
but I wasn't there because obviously we were.
Do you know if the UNSM was able to fill the two positions that they were looking for? Places? Okay. I know they sent it out a couple of
Yeah,
times.
we sent it, but I'm sure it was not.
Okay. person there in Green and Tea. We're waiting for, we got minister's approval for her to sit on that, and I don't think it's been easy enough, but I was talking to her the other day, she's quite excited on being on there, and looking forward to it. She didn't board.
Oh,
She was so pleased when I brought it up to her.
social justice is a big interest of hers, and she's got quite a bit of energy. So I think she'll be a good fit there.
We're gonna move on to the regional joint committee reports and updates, age-friendly committee. There's been no meetings with last council. Atlantic Mayor's Congress, I did attend that last week, and just wanted to speak on that for a minute. I felt that was worthwhile, actually. I got a lot out of it. I'm kind of like in between going to the FTN and doing this, it's kind of in between the two, in the sense that you're sitting around a table with people from all over Atlantic Canada, not just from Nova Scotia. And not only that, when we go to these FCNs, we normally have an Atlantic Caucus meeting, and when we go into them, we're there for less than an hour, and we don't really have an opportunity to really discuss things in detail or have good conversations about items that are going on. There may be some motions on the floor or brought forward for people to vote on, but I've in the past don't feel that there's been enough discussion on the different issues. So, but I just want to touch on some of the stuff at this session that I went to. The Premier of PEI came and spoke to us at lunch, and he spoke to us for 45 minutes or so. And it was interesting to hear his perspective on what the biggest issue is for Atlantic Canada, population.
Of course. What else would it be?
You know, but and that's what he spoke on. And PEI does lead the rest of Atlantic Canada on immigration and attracting new people. So I don't know what the numbers mean to them, but based on their population currently, but still it says that they're doing something right. There was also at the last dinner, there was a reception. They had a dinner for us at the last night, and the next day we wrapped up at noon. But they had the guest speaker was an MP from PEI, and I really liked his talk to us because he was very blunt, and he didn't hold nothing back, and he just basically said, you know, even though
that doesn't always work.
Well, it worked well there, even though maybe people didn't want to hear what he was saying, but even though what I said about PEI being better than the rest of it on attracting new people, his attitude was that they're still not doing enough. So, and he made that perfectly clear to them there in the room. But they had different sessions. They had one on immigration best practices, and they had a person come in from the PEI Office of Immigration to speak on that. I found that was interesting.
Do they have control over theirs like Saskatchewan? Or
no, I feel that PEI still has a lot of work to do. I mean, it sounds like their department is still growing, but they can only do so much, and then they have to have the ability to have the federal government work with the federal government. Sometimes that's not as easy. There was a session on energy production and storage by Greg Gadet, City of Summerside, and that was interesting because Summerside, they've got their own wind turbines, and they've also got their own electric utility, and they're doing a lot of work on trying to make themselves self-sufficient on energy. So they're looking now at solar power and going in that direction as well. One of the things I want to mention, and why I found that it was beneficial to go, because you talk to the different people around the table informally. And I was talking to Christine Blair from the County of Colchester, and she's the mayor up there. And because she had mentioned before how they are looking at a project right now with Lockheed Martin on putting in a gasification plant. And you remember a few years ago, we were talking to Lockheed Martin and trying to do a biogas plant here. But we had no capacity in the grid where we could go forward with the project. They don't have that problem up in Colchester County as far as capacity in the grid. So
all those closed fish plants.
But I had a good chat with her about it, and she gave me the contact number or contact for their director of solid waste in Colchester County. And, I wanted to be able to give this a period, if it's okay with you. Because yeah, I'll talk to the voters as well. But it's just, what they're trying to do. Potentially, you know, I'm not saying that we would have opportunities, but it doesn't hurt to talk to them and find out where it can go. Because, especially gasification, because if this can be proven technology, it's got a lot of opportunities. Well, it'd be nice to be involved. Not only that, like we right now have a 20-year contract for handling our solid waste with Queens County. We're well into that contract, so if gasification is coming up in 5 years down the road, it'd be good to know what would the cost be, and instead of what we're doing now. So if you can generate energy from waste rather than costing us money. So there was that, and then there was a session on sports tourism, and they brought a lady in from what's called Event Atlantic, from the board of directors from that. It's something that's just got started up in the last couple of years, but I think our area has done quite well, like doing events for the size of our community for sports tourism. But and one guy said to me, "You should have mentioned Wharf Rat Rally." I said, "Well, it's not a sport tourism, but it's still activity." But the fact is, it looks like it's a big driver in Canada right now. It's worth billions of dollars in the tourism sector. So, and it could be no different than just having, like they said in Summerside, at the arena there, they have in the wintertime, there's a hockey tournament in that building every weekend. So,
Big money, tons of great for the hotels.
Well,
That's super.
It is. I mean, it's bringing
Do they have
people
a full-time person that assists with it, or is there a company that's just there? How are they going about that? Just
Summerside?
Facilities? Or?
They have a facility there. They probably have a facility manager and probably the recreation people that help them, I would say, but they didn't elaborate into that. But I'll say one thing. For the size of the community, they got about 15,000 people. They built a $40 million complex that has a pool, and it's got a casino on the bottom with the racetrack. They've got the horse races there, but the arena part, it would be like a mini Metro Center. Wow. Yeah, it was nice.
So lots of conferences and things like that besides.
Well, they have all kinds of opportunities to do things like that.
So, wow, that takes some risk for a $40 million building and 15,000 population.
Yeah. The one thing I wanted to mention, the last thing on this, was that they did bring in on the last day, they brought in two people to talk about what's going on with the softwood lumber tariffs in the United States and what the impacts are for Atlantic Canada. We're more fortunate than out west and in British Columbia. The tariffs for us is 3%. Out in BC, it's like 20%. But they want to get rid of that 3% because they feel that it's not warranted, because our wood supply is not being subsidized. Even though if wood comes off Crown land, they're still paying a fair market value for that land, or for that wood. So they're fighting to try to get that rolled back to zero. And the other thing they talked about was carbon tax versus cap and trade, and the difference in that. And they want to see all Atlantic Canada support the cap and trade over the carbon tax. I mean, the federal government has mandated that everybody's going to have one in place. Now, Nova Scotia's already passed a cap and trade.
So did Ontario too, didn't it?
Ontario and Quebec, and British Columbia, I believe.
But now they're looking at carbon tax with it.
Well, they're talking that cap and trade would be better for us here than going down the carbon tax route. So they would like to see the municipality support that, but where we already have it in Nova Scotia, and I don't know what the details of what the carbon tax means for us, it's hard to, we'd have to do some work on that to know what the impact is going to be for the municipality. And anyways, that was, it was a really good session. I was glad I was able to attend it, and I think it's worthwhile being a part of it. And also President Clark Somerville from the FCM was there, and he gave an FCM update. He stayed for the whole thing. He left on Friday morning, but
Safe to assume you're staying with this committee then? So you go on the
I think it's viable. It only meets twice a year, so it's not like it takes a lot of time. But So the next meeting's not till the fall in Moncton, so I plan on going to that, but I think there's value to it, so.
You said softwood lumber, is it only 3% for all the Maritimes? I thought it was only 3% for Irving.
3% tariff.
Is that for just Irving, or is that for everybody?
That's for the whole market going into the United States from Atlantic Canada.
Because when it first, I thought it was when it first came out, it was just Irving and got special consideration, and theirs was 3%, the rest of it was.
They didn't say that. Mind you, the guy speaking was from Irving.
Well, I know theirs here a couple of weeks ago when they were talking, maybe a month ago, they said Irving's was only 3% because they were much more in line with what the Americans, the way they produced and harvested and stuff.
Yeah, they didn't, they actually said Nova Scotia was better off than even New Brunswick, as far as an argument not to have any
More
tariff.
private property.
Well, we get 70% private woodlot owners, whereas they only have 50% in New Brunswick. And, the last thing on that too is, they talked about the spruce budworm and the impact that's having right now. Apparently, it's gone in to go back and done a lot of damage there, and they didn't react quick enough to it, so the damage is already done. It's starting to get into northern New Brunswick, and they've come up with a plan how to rectify the issue, and they want, the provinces in Atlantic Canada, I guess, are on board with supporting this. Industry supports it, and they're now going to try to lobby the federal government to get them to support the initiative. What it is, it would be a cost of $300 and some odd million to attack this issue and try to go at it. Whereas if they don't do it, there's an impact of losing $15 billion over the wood project. So it's a no-brainer for legacy, and that they would want to try to tackle it hard. And they've got different things that they can do that's not harmful to.
Like sterilized males and things like that.
Well, they put out different things that will kill the budworm or won't impact other things. They've done a lot of science on this over the years, and it's not like it was 20 years ago when they
Put tape around the bottom of the tree and hope for the best.
Well, they sprayed toxic chemicals years ago, whereas they don't do that now. So anyway, that to me sounded pretty positive. So there is going to be, when we go to the Atlantic Caucus, there'll be resolutions coming forward on supporting getting rid of the tariff on the softwood lumber. There's going to be one on the fruit budworm. So just let you know if you have a heads up on it. So that's it on that one.
To be an area affordable for a peasant.
I didn't put a check mark, so there we go. Yes. Happy Work Gregory, has there been a meeting?
No.
Digby area Board of Trade, Council Two.
No meeting.
The Digby Annapolis Development Committee. There's been no meeting. Digby Area Learning Association, Council Manzo.
Things are tight. With Della, and they're in the process of trying to find other avenues of funding. The daycare or the learning grove is a great spot now, whereas in years past it has been something that kind of drugged down a little bit, or it ran a deficit. They are struggling to stay afloat. Hopefully we'll find some new means of solutions.
Do they have very many students right now?
I think so. I can't remember from the chart. I don't think their students is,
Talk about adult students.
no, but I don't think it's that much different than it was like a year or 2 years ago. The money, the amount of funding coming in.
Well, are they competing with the Nova Scotia Community College for the same dollars? Are they providing?
I would say no.
No?
Are they competing with the one that's in the mall now?
Yes, probably, somewhat.
Yeah.
I forget what the name is, but it's a disabilities group or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's not the disabilities group anymore, it's.
Probably abilities or something,
Yeah.
whatever, but they are kind of competing with them for dollars and for programs.
Because that place has, I've only been in there, but it doesn't look to me, they have the, places to go in, to use computers, make up resumes, there's a lot of good things down there.
I don't know if they have that potential to do that stuff or not. I know Dalla does at the.
Got some friends that work there, and it just seems like it's always a struggle, but the provincial government doesn't keep putting funds into it. They're always cutting back, but it seems to me like it's.
But I know they do have the computers, and there is
Yeah.
some assistance.
They have people there to help with resumes and stuff like that, you need that stuff, right?
Now, not as much as there was, a year or so ago.
Yeah, sure.
Didn't Service Canada provide some of that as well?
I don't know, I,
You
you know,
know, if you're unemployed,
how many people work at Service Canada?
It's an empty building. You're talking one of those. Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine.
I'm in there quite a bit on and off. I've never seen more than 2 people.
Well, I suppose it's not like it used to be, everybody's online now, filling up their unemployment, so it's not back in the day.
I never see a soul in there.
Wall people, right?
All right, we'll move on to Digby Recreation Commission, Deputy Board Director Ian Councilor Ross.
I couldn't there.
I was there, we went over the new insurance policy for the year, saved some money, that was really cool, lovely good job there. One of the erratics emailed a few congratulations to Derek for putting on the wilderness first aid course. Everyone enjoyed it, hope Derek will do more courses. An update for the trail coordinator in process of scoring up resumes and getting some people interviewed. New entertainment coming to the rig, wrestling, Elvis impersonator, get your tickets.
Wrestling at the same time?
No.
I have to go see that.
Sorry, read that a little fast.
That's a
Can't
wonderful.
beat up Elvis, but,
Oh,
no, it was a short meeting, you weren't there, Linda, but,
Has Derek ever talked about maybe trying to take advantage of like new programs that are out for solar power and like
Oh, yeah.
doing solar panels on the whole roof of the
Yes.
arena? Because I mean, you would have no electricity bill probably if you did that.
We are looking into that. That's kind of feasibility study that's being done. And also I sent them about the grant money that was available through that as well. Yeah, it's something we have looked at.
Okay. And in the capital plan for this upcoming year, do they plan on maybe throwing some paint on the building?
Yeah.
I heard that too.
Yes, that's part of our,
Yeah.
we want to paint.
Even if they do part of it, like the year, if they get the whole building, I know to do the whole building at once would be very expensive, but even if
We want the
they,
front end.
well, the front, yeah. All right, Digby Tourism Association, Councilor Lander. Any meeting?
What's that?
Digby Tourism.
Yeah, last or a week ago, they had their annual general meeting, which I wasn't able to attend because I was away for the week. I sent the April minutes in.
Digby Community Nova Scotia Health Authority Stakeholder Group, we had a meeting scheduled, but it had been postponed due to the election, so, and I think we have one scheduled for June.
I just in regards to, has everyone read this? Has anyone read this at all?
What?
It's the only drawback of living here from the interviews with doctors that had left.
I never got a copy.
It's worth.
I get a copy.
I'm gonna see if I get one sent to you.
Oh, I have it here. I can send it out to all council. No problem.
There's a couple things in there that really piqued
I'll
my
do it
interest.
after this meeting.
It was the opposite of what we were told in council. And then it's worth taking a look at it, for sure.
The Digby Development Agency, I wasn't at the last meeting.
There wasn't a forum.
Okay.
Oh, I was there.
It was Ben and I there. They were very peaceful.
No, we did have a report from Dan, and we had a report from Terry. But of course, no motions could be made or anything, but it was still a good meeting.
Okay.
We are marching on.
Digby Harbor Port Association, Councilor Tudor.
We had a meeting last week. We had a meeting on the wharf itself just so we could see an area that there's been some controversy about. But they decided to lease it for 14 months, trial period. Reason is 14 months, it's just so they get past the monster season. And, yeah, things are going well. No longer the treasurer, to my great joy. They handed that over to the lawyer. And it's a good group, clear, straight to the point. I like it. And Ed Chisholm, they got a really good guy there.
Have they heard anything back on their application for funding?
I don't believe so. I think there's still.
Yeah, no, I think they did receive their 150,000.
No, they were doing, didn't they want to do some dredging and a whole bunch of other
Oh, I don't know. I think they got their
No, but they got
funding.
the money for the design portion.
Oh,
Business
okay.
plan.
Yeah.
And actually, Ed is going to make a presentation to the joint council meeting on the 29th.
Yeah, real interesting things, like people in the fisheries, based on the numbers from the really bad year for the fisheries, make half of what others. So right now, if you're in the fisheries, you're probably making approximately 3 times the average wage for the rest of the town, which I thought was awfully interesting. But they have an industry where people make money.
You usually talk about the owners, not the crews.
And there's less and less owner-operators by the minute.
Okay, the next thing is the Digby Library Committee. I mentioned earlier when we had a presentation that we're going to put a baby changing station in the library. Two other things that we approved to do is we want to put in blinds in the community room. Right now, there's no blinds in there, and if you're in the afternoon, the sun beats in there so hard, so it's not a big expenditure, but it's needed. And the third thing is that we're trying to make the library more welcoming and look better. So, and we're going to do it in small dribs and drabs, but we want to buy a couple chairs, just comfortable chairs for people to sit in.
Less
Try to start working on upgrading the furniture a little bit. And also in the children's area, there's going to be these like round, there's almost like little life preservers.
Yes, so they can sit on.
Yes, they sit on, and each child would have their own. There'd be like 24, and then they have these little things that they hook them on. And, you know, that they stand them on a little thing when they're not being used.
Yeah, they're cute.
Yeah.
All in the middle of them, and just a little pad. And
So the total expense for the things that we're talking about is the changing station, like was $388.73, and the blinds are $13.25, and the furniture was $22.85 in total. So
When you're looking at the furniture there, looking at something that is humorous or anything like that, it's
yeah,
wipeable.
yeah.
It's not just the plain.
that's why the
anymore.
why the chairs are so expensive, they're more like commercial grade.
They're commercial.
Where you can just place them off.
Yeah.
I don't know, something. Like how.
Well, what happens is those chairs should be being washed every day anyway, because this is an RSA, all that stays on there.
Yeah.
And that's why you want something that's wipeable, or, sometimes we all have accidents.
Well, like since the library was put there, we've had no changes in the furniture. So I brought it up to Aaron that I'd like to see us start working on doing a little bit at a time. And also we talked about potentially throwing some paint on the walls to take the institutional look away. And we're also looking at maybe changing up the interior of the library and move stuff around so it's more welcoming and it's more user-friendly. So there's a lot of different things you can do in that space. And the last thing I forgot to mention is one of the air conditioning units that we had put on the building probably 10 years ago, the board went in, fried or whatever. So we've got to put a new unit in, and that's $22.85. So in total, it's going to be probably give or take around $7,000, and it's accommodated in the budget for the Digby Library.
And that's split 50/50.
Yeah, we pay half and the town pays half. So, also some other things that will be done. It's just ongoing, but like we have some outdoor benches with planters, and the flowers are going to be planted by the town public works. And bike rack. We have a bike rack somewhere over Public Works and we're supposed to install that. That was supposed to get done last summer and it got forgotten about, I guess, so, but we're gonna have that installed. Anyway, that's the report on the Digby Library. The Digby Municipal Fire Association, Deputy Warden Gregory.
They moved the meeting, so I'll give it a week.
Okay.
A week of, but the mental health in the workplace is so valuable.
Okay. The Highway 101 Task Force, Deputy Warden Gregory, Council.
We have had no meeting.
Shocking.
Well, there's an election going on, you're not gonna.
Oh, yeah, I suppose. I'm being overly cynical.
Oh,
Usually,
It's time to have a meeting.
King's Transit Authority, Deputy Warden Gregory.
our meeting is Wednesday.
Okay.
Oh, that's tomorrow. I will be attending. Right now, the March minutes, April newsletter, and April reports are there. We will definitely be having our student pass. That has been approved by the,
I read it in the minutes there.
pardon?
I read it in the packet.
Oh, okay, then everything's in the back.
But I do have something I want you to bring up to them.
Okay.
Check and find out whether or not they put our municipality Digby logo back on our bus that was painted. Because I brought it up at the meeting with the manager here,
Yeah.
and I've seen the bus go by since, and I still haven't seen them on there. Now, they may have been put on the last week. I don't know, but just ask and see if that's been done, because, you know, I want people to understand fair bus. The other thing I want to ask too, is in the budget for King's Transit, they're billing us for bus rental, where we have to pay them to use their bus. Because the whole intent of us having a spare bus is that,
I didn't think we were paying.
well, you look, there's $2,000 or $3,000. If you look at the, can you bring that up there? The budget? Anyway, I thought that, you know, we shouldn't really have any expenditure when it comes to bus rentals.
I can't see that.
Is it there?
Yeah, like rental, 3,000.
Yeah. So,
It's not-
actual,
Yeah,
that's
but it's not
round
budget,
numbers too.
but not actual.
Actual 3.
Actuals 3.
And it's
Yeah.
such round numbers.
yeah, so, well, it's $500 a day.
Okay.
But the question is why?
Well, yeah, I mean, we've got a spare bus.
I mean, I know our bus was down because they had it in and we were working on it. And, there was some trouble with the engine. But that's been, you know, I don't see how we should have been charged. Anyway, I will
We'll find
find out
out.
about it.
And the last thing on that too is, when our spare bus isn't being used, does it sit in Weymouth, or do they have it in the valley using it?
No, we had a discussion on use of our bus when it's up there because it was being used.
That's my point, and then we're not getting the rent for it either.
And yes, and when well, it was funny how I found out. I was up there, I don't know why, but I was up, and I went, that's our bus. And I got behind it because I thought, I'm nuts. So then I called Stephen, I said, you know, Stephen, I don't know if I'm hallucinating or I'm just plain crazy, but I swore I just saw our bus up here. Yeah. So I'm not happy. And he guaranteed me it would never happen again. But
Well, see, that's all the more argument for taking that $3,000 off our budget. I mean, because I thought that we had that spare that we would have, and we'd have it here for whenever our other one had to go into service or it broke down or whatever. And maybe it is most of the time, but I had a feeling that possibly it'd been used up there. Maybe that's why it's got no logo on it. So,
That's why they're hiding the logo.
oh no, this was just a little while ago, but I mean, he guaranteed me it would not. Because I said, you know, we don't want that kind of stuff happening.
well, no, it'll wear our bus out and then we won't have it to use. So, and the other thing I wanted to ask too is that when I was reading the packet anyways, they're having the tall chicks come in the Digby this summer.
Yeah.
And has there been,
Isn't it?
pardon me?
August
I
15th?
believe, yeah. But they're gonna have the fireworks in Annapolis Royal. Yeah, that was part of the deal, like with Annapolis Royal. Annapolis and Digby are working together, I guess, the two towns, to try to highlight and promote this. because I don't think that the tall ships are gonna get up into Annapolis because of the water. They may see some of the smaller ones there, I don't know. But I was thinking that, if we wanted to show some token of appreciation and cooperation with them, we may be able to use our spare bus to take people up to the fireworks if they wanted to attend the fireworks. A lot of people may not have the ability to get there otherwise. So it might be something that we could offer anyway.
Oh, that he'll agree to that, I'm sure, as long as we have a driver.
Yeah, I
And
know.
that's, so that would be for evening, wouldn't it?
Well, it'd be for in the evening to go up to see the fireworks, but I'm just thinking, it would just be for one evening, but it would be worth putting that
As
out
long
there.
as council's comfortable, yeah.
How do you feel about it?
Driver.
This is also brought up to me at the public meeting too, when the board members want to know if there was any way to change transit, and maybe Lymas and Blair, can work together to try to hook up with somebody down in the
Well, see, we only go to Weymouth.
So I
And then
know,
it's
but-
Transport to Clare. We're working very close to Transport to Clare. And I know that they have been working with Yarmouth, but you gotta remember, Yarmouth bus only goes to the town. They have no bus anywhere else.
maybe it's something we can bring up that they could, work with the town to meet at make one trip up to the Canadian side or something, or Walnut, and pick up people.
You mean Yarmouth public transit bus? They're not allowed to, they're not, under the URB, they're not even allowed to leave the town limits. Yeah, that's what I was told anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
So, I think, but in saying that, if people down in Yarmouth wanted to go up there and there was an incentive in place, there is other private, there's also private carriers, like, you've got, I think 2 different carriers in Yarmouth.
Transport to Clare doesn't go with Yarmouth.
They can't call them in. Oh, okay.
They're like,
No, I'm
again,
just
they're
thinking that there were
licenses,
certain
they get
days
everybody.
I know everything goes with the
People in
URB.
Yarmouth,
Yeah, but I don't think they have it.
lunch group,
They don't.
whatever, wanted to get up there, then they can arrange with the buses to.
There's a guy,
days.
yeah, there's a.
See, for example, what was just done here a little while ago, Transport to Clare bought a group out of the 340, took them to the Weymouth Foodland.
Yep.
Bus picked them up, took them up to Cornwallis and Annapolis where the groups wanted to go. When it was arranged what time they were coming back, Transport to Clare picked them up and took them home.
Maybe that's
You know,
what
I
it is, called
mean,
transport.
that kind of stuff is being worked.
But if you wanna do-
Yarmouth's a different extra
Yeah.
cog in there, right? You gotta
Yeah.
get them from Yarmouth to Clare to Digby.
But see, in Yarmouth, there's, the person that owns the Mariners hockey team, Mitch Bonner, he also has a charter service, and he has 3 buses, like he has a big, the big coach, and then he's got a smaller one, which it's probably the same size as our bus, maybe in capacity, and then he's got a smaller, something like Transport to Clare has. So there is the ability in Yarmouth for people to charter, to do that. So whether or not there's a will or a willingness to want to do that. Also, one of the counselors from Argyle, Calvin, he's got a charter bus that he uses in the Yarmouth area to try to do tours. So there could be opportunities there too.
Yeah.
Okay, open spaces, Councilors Tudor and Ross.
Probably gonna book one in June. I'll be in touch with you guys.
Okay.
And asking, saying that you're going through the interview process for the trail coordinator, when do you envision that process to be finalized?
Hopefully we're interviewing on Thursday. So,
How many
depending, in total there were about 27 applications.
Really?
And if you're screening down to, we did the shortlisted and then we interviewed 2.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a
27 is pretty good for training.
Gives a good pool to draw from.
Okay. The next thing is the Senior Safety Committee, Board of McAlpine, Council Manager. I don't believe we've had a meeting.
We haven't had a meeting. But Don was on the radio Friday morning.
Yeah, I heard her.
Shelburne.
Yeah, I listened to it.
Yeah.
She did a good job. And the reason why Don ended up doing that interview in Shelburne is because the lady that's senior safety coordinator in Shelburne is running in the provincial election.
Keeps coming up, keeps coming up.
For some reason.
That's why, so she got asked to go down and do that, and I thought it was a great idea, a good opportunity. So she did a good job, she spoke very well. Shared Services Committee, there hasn't been a meeting. Southwest Biosphere Society, Deputy Works Director.
Okay, so Southwest Biosphere, we met. There's a whole bunch of stuff that's coming out to you in June. We met May 5th in Shelburne. We discussed what the goals were that were happening for the biosphere, and it's to engage stakeholders with the Southwest Nova Biosphere Reserve to have visible presence in the Interpretive Center, secure funding for a coordinator, director for the Interpretive Center for ongoing development. This position should be a shared responsibility. Identify sources of revenue to ensure sustainability of the Interpretive Center. Explore the possibility of a provincial heritage status for the Interpretive Center building, formerly Killam's Brothers Shipping Office. Work with the co to explore funding for development. Initiate dialogue and research in fisheries, fish stocks, and management to explore possibilities of having a presence in building the fisheries. We also have applied for some money, but we have not heard what's happening. We are, it's the Canada Works Grant that we're working with. We also, the Black Loyalist Heritage Center has already loaned an exhibit, and they're going to be going through. Acadians First Nations hopes to place a summer student at the center that will talk about what's happening with the Acadians. Our gallery in Liverpool is also going to work at the center. The Canada 150 fund we were turned down for. We are also looking at a communication strategy steps for continuing staff support. We also have a student who will be doing research on migratory birds, collecting environmental data, and doing interpretive work in support of the Science Atlas that we have. The Geomatics Center is developing a databases and software for this. I have been asked to attend the 57th UNESCO conference in Montreal, which I will be going up Thursday and returning Saturday. They are paying my hotel and my airfare. So and they will provide lunch both days. So that's what it was. I am doing a presentation on the Biosphere Reserve and what we're doing. We will be when Cliff was here the other day talking, mine's very similar. We've already worked on it. Mm-hmm. Cliff was here and did the presentation.
No.
Oh, okay, that was at another council. Sorry. Anyway, I can, if you want, when I come back, do the presentation here for our next committee or council, whichever you prefer.
Yeah. The question though for you is,
I'm not done yet.
Okay.
Okay, but you go.
Well, the question is, it's like, Cliff went to France to see about
And
keeping the
because of
status.
it, it looks like everything's secure for our Biosphere Reserve.
Okay.
The Biosphere Reserve has this meeting, and the money was paid out for what the difference was by the provincial government, and they thanked us very much for the letter. Zach was, that's why Mr. Churchill was very pleased with our letter. What Cliff's presentation was to the Euromap was a historic background leading to our present position. On probation pending UNESCO's approval, which we should be hearing soon, but everything is going really well. That includes the protected areas, the community forest, and other lands. UNESCO Paris has just accepted the concept, and final formal approval is expected very soon. We also are looking at the climate change data, which will be an important part of the atlas, and stress assessment will be applied to model responses to the climate change. We have in Kedgwick one of the Canadian weather stations, and it is one of the things it does is doing the acid rain count that's coming up, and how much from the 80s it went down, and how much
It's coming back up now.
starting up a little. And I was keen on that. The one thing that I did not realize, when the biosphere was opened, when it happened on September the 11th, 2001.
Okay.
No one heard about it, obviously.
Well, it's dropped, yeah. So even though there was all sorts of news releases that were supposed to go out, the government sort of dropped them down because 9/11 was more important than what was happening with the people. So, we are looking at our communication strategy, how we have a trails tab is planned for the app, and that's going to be coordinated with the Social Connection, which is already a fairly complete information. It was suggested that the Science Atlas and the app could be combined, or at least linked. We will be doing rack cards and podcasts of human stories. Youth engagement through art projects is planned. We are aiming to get UNESCO and the SNGRA logos on all relevant regional forest literature. We were very pleased, they were very pleased with the money that arrived from us, as well as all the municipalities. I will be circulating, Pat will be circulating the financial report to show who did what. We are also working with New Canada and the MAB committee on what we can do to improve. So, like I said, I apologize for not getting this stuff into the minutes, but that's my fault.
Any questions for Linda on the, okay, good.
I have 6 questions.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, my only
I
question
hate to
was,
say this, but
accreditation.
this is an exciting committee.
Yeah, and there's, like, it's important with the impact of climate change on our community, and I mean, we don't talk about it enough.
No, we don't.
Oh, no.
But, I mean, it's something that's there, and we've got to really, I think we need to, sometime I'd like to have council have the opportunity to sit down and talk with Terry about.
That was something else.
really
They asked me, and I said, of course, they would like to talk to Terry and pick his brain a little bit on what we are doing in Digby climate change. Like I said a few things, but I said they need to talk to the horses, not me. And I said, we're not asking to do work, we're just asking, like I was talking with the PACE program and different things.
Okay, is that it?
I hope so. I could go on a lot more, and I'll shut up.
Oh, come on.
Okay, then we're gonna give George a chance. Let's transport declare.
We haven't had a meeting.
We'll go back to you then with Tideview.
The only thing, I guess, the biggest thing at Tideview is the air quality in one of the homes, and they're still ongoing. As far as I know, we were away for a week, so was talking to him before I went for that, but I haven't been in contact with him.
It's been for
We have a meeting tomorrow.
It's been like that for 2-3 months.
Yeah.
Or since Christmas.
Well, since, November or whatever started it, and,
Oh.
well, I don't know.
So who they had in there looking at it?
They've had 2 or 3 reputable companies from Halifax, or, from up the valley. They can't find anything. So what they've been doing is trying to find out where it's not coming from, to try and narrow down where it might be coming from. Instead of just going in and start ripping down walls. If you do that, then you've got to seal it all off, and you've got to move those patients out of there, and you're going to rip walls and stuff down. So they're trying to, be the
Heard they have-
invasive as possible.
They have it to the entrance, don't they? They took it to there?
In that area, I think it is, and they have an exhaust system set up, so when they do start smelling it, they can exhaust that area.
So if it's in the entrance, why don't they rip a wall and put a door and separate the patients?
Because they're not sure it's coming from there. They're checking, like sometimes if there's another door, the receiving door is open down 100 feet from there, 150 feet from there, then it may be more noticeable. Or the humidity, is high humidity or it's damp out or whatever. So they're keeping logs on all that stuff to try and narrow, find out, is it when it's open or is it when the weather's a certain.
How long has it been going on for?
Probably since before Christmas.
And is any staff or any?
Some staff have noticed it.
Okay.
So it's not just in your mind.
No, and I've heard people come to me, said they smelt it.
And
They're
some,
just tired of how long it's taking to get
Yeah.
it fixed because it's going through certain people's routines and they get these treatments, ventilators going through and this and that, and they're getting upset about it, right? That's why I asked. I had heard they had it to the entrance. So I'm thinking by now.
Well, maybe, once then they
just
tried to
make
go
that
up in
much
the
money.
attic, and they got up in the attic as far as they could, but because of the way the roof's built, where it's close to the eaves, it's sealed off.
Summertime's the best time to narrow it down, is I guess what they're getting at.
But, there is that option there, looking at possibly having to move those residents out of there.
Yeah.
But, that's gonna involve maybe moving some to Annapolis, and some to Clare, and some to a few spare rooms there.
Yeah, they don't have any
They don't have nine, they
So
don't have
I'm
9
happy
people.
with that either.
So,
Okay.
that all has to be coordinated and move them out, which is a disruption to them, I think, anyway. So,
Another question, George, is like, when I read the minutes, that, they've had a vendor place a lien on them for $12,000. Like, what's going on there?
for what, how much?
$12,000. Says the original scope of work was for $24,000. Approximately 75% of the work is complete and paid for. And then Ian Everett of Barricada Management was hired. He was the former manager with MHPM, and apparently it's a related party, and Deborah obtained approval from Danny. Is that Deborah's husband?
I do believe.
Okay. But my concern is, or question is more on, like, why would there be a lien placed on?
It was something to do with their, panels they have on the roof, to create,
Solar panels,
solar panels to generate hot water or whatever for the facility.
right?
They had some people in to try and fix the problem, and they couldn't, they're never gonna fix it anyway. It's gonna cost them more to fix it than it's worth. So, this, one of the contractors, whatever, she put in some bills, whatever, and, I guess Deborah didn't think they were warranted, or didn't know it should be covered by insurance. Anyway, I'm sure it has been, at the last one, Deborah said it had been resolved. And
It looks like it was put into it's being held right now, but.
Just says
Five
it,
percent of the worst.
but see where it says they put $12,000 as a budget on hold or in trust or reserve or whatever?
Well, I'm sure at our last meeting, this would have been the minutes from,
Okay.
2 two previous months.
Okay.
So last, and
They probably-
last
okay.
month, I'm sure Deborah said they had been yourself.
Okay, all right.
But I will double check on that tomorrow, we have our meeting tomorrow.
Well, I'm just, yeah, because it's
But
there in
we
the
will.
minutes, it'd be interesting to know how they made it.
I'm sure it's been resolved.
All right, any other questions? If not, we're gonna go to the Upper Clemens Park Society, Councilor Ross.
Staff is getting, new training on the new POS software, they replace all the software, for cash registers and stuff. New food service lady, Julian Kelly, she wasn't available, she was supposed to do a food sample. She's the new, person taking over. Still in talks with the circus head in the city, they're hoping to get 3 performers come down in the summertime. So, the building, they're gonna have, pirate, and maybe clown, something like that, it's gonna be really cool. Adventure Park opened up on the weekend, they had bookings for both the Adventure Park and the campground already. Infrastructure money is being well spent, and, that's really it.
Okay. All right, any questions? Hearing none. Or when's the first day they open for the season, you
I
know?
believe it's June,
End of June?
first week of June.
Okay.
Get school kids.
Yes, the school kids are all coming in, yes.
Because you open the first week of June, you get a couple of weeks to get to school. Right?
Yeah.
And with the, and they're working on that now because the numbers are down because of the walk or work to rule, so everybody was in limbo, so now we're getting caught up, getting home to schools to remind them. And of course, there's gonna be some schools that are still in work to rule mode and some that aren't, so. We're hoping the numbers will be good, but we'll see.
Okay. Next thing is waste check, Deputy Warden Gregory and Councilor Manzer.
There has been no meeting, so, the April meeting notes and the, April, waste check connections are there. Next meeting is not until, July.
Okay. How's our numbers going, like, where we got down below the 300?
Yeah, we are up again.
Yeah, it's up.
And the reason we're up is because of the way a lot of it is done, and as you know, that if, they take our stuff that should be being dealt with in our area and take it to somewhere else, we lose the credits on it.
On CB?
Yeah, on the same day. And, people, we have trouble with people sorting when the minute they walk out of their house, they walk in their house. But they suddenly don't have a brain when they walk into a business store. And what they're, one of the goals is to have more, better pictures put up.
Yeah.
And now I was watching the other day when I was at the Holiday Inn. They had all glass dishes, and the girls were sort of standing waiting for you, and they take it from you, and because they said, "Oh, that's okay." And I said, I know what I'm doing, really. And so and her comment was, "You really did." Because so many people are putting garbage in the compost, and so they're trying to sort it themselves. And in Halifax, I asked the girl how she was, airport, and she was telling me that even with the pictures, it's not done well. And they have pretty good pictures there. I mean, actually, better than a lot of places. But if you watch people,
People don't care, so.
it's terrible.
We get repositories of plastic bags stuffed with everything. First garbage can they see to be, for the composting. Shove it in.
But that's because a lot of jurisdictions don't
Do it at all.
source it. No, they don't do it.
It's unusual in the States. They don't want to deal with that stuff.
All right.
It makes the voters angry.
Next thing, Western County Regional Library. There hasn't been a meeting. We have one coming up in June. Western Regional Enterprise Network Liaison and Oversight Committee. We had a meeting today. Hold on, I got my thing here. The board, now that Barrington has joined the RAN, the board wants to, there was provision when we formed the RAN that we could have a board make up of up to 12 people. And we've had a board made up of 9. The board would like to take that up to the full complement of 12. Now that Barrington's in, does Barrington have
Any
representation?
approval from council?
No, this is something that they can do. Or they're able to do, and this just highlights of the meeting, but they're able to go to 12. So they're looking at having another person from Digby, and they're also looking at having somebody from Barrington for sure. So it would be 2. And
2 from Digby?
well, no, we already have one for this area, but it'll give us another person. Like you can actually apply from anywhere, but they're really trying to be specific, and they're trying to get more diversity on the board, and they're trying to look for more females. So they're trying to really, they're going out there. The committee that's in place to go out and do the recruitment is trying to, target certain people and just approach them to see if they would be interested in sitting on the board.
Politicians or business people or both? Or?
No politicians, it would be business people. That's what we're looking for on the board. But there's different skill sets that they've identified that they're lacking on the board that they would like to have filled in. One's IT and the other one would be law. So they're looking to get at least one lawyer on there. And
what about the lady who is the lawyer for the Harbor Authority? I forget her name. She's a recent graduate. Kutcher.
yeah, well, there's an opportunity that could happen, but there's people that are working on this now. Actually, Ben Cleveland, the mayor for the town, he's the chair of this committee. So because the committee comes from the L&O group, it doesn't come from the board. So they're doing that, and it was interesting to find out today that NSBI sits on the board of the L&O. Like
NFBI.
Nova Scotia Business Inc.
Oh, I thought you said that. Sorry.
No. And Rhonda McDougall, she sits on the board, as well as our municipal rep for Service Nova Scotia, Ron Dolphy. So today, when we got an update from Rhonda, she was saying that we've got probably the best rent in the province. We're doing great, and that our board is partnered with NSBI on 4 different projects, which she thought was awesome because to get one going is really good, but we've got 4 going. One's dealing with productivity, and I know that they've been working on that, trying to increase productivity in the workplace, and they were working with a number of different fish plants in the region to work on that. Another one they're doing is they're looking at doing real estate inventory across the province, but they're working on it. Specifically, they're doing one here in our region too, on what's available for commercial and industrial spaces. So if you're trying to bring somebody in, you know what your assets are.
Dan to be working on this thing.
Well, actually, it's funny you mentioned that because I mentioned to them how Dan's been doing some work on our behalf on the different industrial parks. And actually, I asked them the question because NSBI own industrial parks, and I wanted to know, okay, you got business coming in Nova Scotia, are you being fair? Are you just trying to put them in your own parks? So she did answer it, but I think it depends on.
They were already full,
Yeah,
but She Harbor.
they've got some specific businesses if they want to come into Nova Scotia, like up the other end of the province, they're looking at doing another LNG plant in Guysborough. So this is,
For export?
an LNG plant, yeah.
Like the one in India.
No, they already got one up there in Guysborough, and they're looking to put the second one in. And if that goes forward, it's going to create probably thousands of jobs just in the construction of it, and
Awesome.
and it'll be hundreds of jobs full time probably after that. So.
And Lake National Glass is considered green.
So they look at that land they have up there, that park. They have a park up there that's trying to draw that kind of a business in there, and it's because of geographics, where the natural gas pipelines are and where they come ashore. And we currently have 3 board members that their terms will be expiring this year. All 3 have indicated that they're interested in applying for a second term.
Oh, that's great.
Which they're allowed to, and it would be a 3-year term. So it is good because they're all strong board members. And then coming up in June, on June 22nd, They're gonna have the AGM for the Ren, and they're gonna host it in Barrington at the municipal building at 4 p.m. I think that was about it. Any questions? I will say, I feel that the Ren has been doing a great job, and I mentioned it, I commended them too today when I was speaking on the work they've done in trying to help us get our proposal into the federal government for the rural high-speed internet. And, you know, and we're partnering with our other rural units in the Ren. So, next thing is the Weymouth Doctor Recruiting Committee, Deputy Warden Gregory, Councilor Manager.
There has been no meeting.
Okay. Council District Reports, we'll start with Councilor Tudor.
I had a meeting with the EHS. There's been some concerns, things are changing a bit as far as the ambulance is concerned. Less emergency rooms open, longer turnover because they can't leave until they have a bed and things like that. And of course, everything seems to be getting drawn towards the core. And so the ambulance has been leaving the station on the islands because, for example, there's no other ambulance in the entire county available. So we came up with like 4 commitments. I was invited by the Freeport Fire Association, and just a few things, like maybe they can leave 15 minutes early so they don't pass on the neck. They're right there on the other side of the ferry. Another example, it would be when they do leave the islands, it's announced over the dispatch so that the emergency volunteers, once we're trained, know. So like if they know they're going on Freeport, they're not going to go to town, for example. That sort of comes up. Plus, talking to, they said they committed to setting up a meeting between our emergency services and Tancook Islands, because we have some of the same problems, to go over best practices. And there was another one, I can't remember off my head. Jobs, people wanting jobs, people needing workers. This time of year is quite busy. I had a successful fundraiser for disabled folk, disabled individual. And the boardwalk, bog walk's looking really good. Putting it all together. Joint stocks is done. And I just have to get a couple more volunteers to put the board together completely. And I've got an appointment tomorrow in Westport to do that. So hopefully that's looking really good. Looking really good.
Okay.
Yay. That's it, man. And I went to a bunch of meetings.
I attended the volunteer dinner at the fire hall a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
There was a work day back at the Electric City Foundation area where we cut wood and chip branches and stuff for them. Cool. And then there was also a highway cleanup from one next to the wings to the on Saturday. They collected 25 or 30 bags of garbage.
I come to see volunteer at the fire hall, George did, and I've been gearing up a cleanup in the Middle Crossroad. Got some people organized to do that up on June 1st. Everybody interested in helping out, come on out. It's at 3:45 p.m. on June 1st, Thursday. I've been also helping some constituents with just the grading and gearing up for fixing up the roads and stuff like that. So I talked to Kerry again today about it. And Fort Lake, there's some culverts messed up and stuff like that. People are getting anxious and wondering what's going on. So keep doing that and
Okay. Deputy Warden Gregory.
Okay, I attended the provincial volunteer with Shirley Dugas, who was ours, and Oliver Jansen, who was the town. They did an excellent job while we were there. I also attended a presentation on climate change with the SWBRA. I then attended a public meeting on what was happening when we had the herring problem and the other fish problem. And whatever it was, nobody knows anything. We know that 170,000 fish died. We know that.
What they do accounting for?
Well, it's how they explained about the grass and how they worked it and all this stuff.
But, I mean, the fish died from here all the way to Yarmouth.
Yeah, they did it for those,
Yeah.
for the area.
That was all that died.
Was it ever brought up about the whales being up in the St. Mary's Bay?
Oh, yeah, that was brought up, but,
Did they bring up the wind and what I like to call the Mink Cove theory?
oh, yeah, they had a lot of stuff brought up.
The Mink Cove theory convinced me to pieces.
I mean, they,
Convinced me completely.
like when I left,
Those old guys like that.
it was not I mean, they were just saying, we don't know what happened. We know it wasn't by poison, we know it was not, whatever, but we don't know what.
Are they still blaming, like, a couple hundred kilometers away, the turbine? Was that brought
That
up?
was asked, and they said that there is no evidence that the turbine that far away would, but they said the only people that could truly answer that would have been the turbine people, because he says from what they have, they're saying that, there shouldn't have been. And I mean, you're talking up in minus 80.
It seems absurd to me. If you're concerned about noise, and there is concerns about noise, worried about all the boats.
But anyway, that was, like I said, a long meeting. Then I also, and this month, I've had a few concerns brought to me, which I've been dealing with. And I'll be honest, I was in Cuba for a week on vacation with my family.
What? Vacation? We're not allowed to go on vacations or have
And
lives.
then I went to Newfoundland for a week for mental health in the workplace. And like I said, on the 25th, I walked to Montreal to the 50th session. Just to do that presentation.
Cool.
But yeah, anyway. Otherwise, I will say it's been rather quiet. I will tell you right now, I ended up missing the dinner on Saturday night. My daughter-in-law.
What dinner?
For the festival, for the music festival.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I was not able to attend because I ended up in Halifax.
Okay.
My daughter-in-law has been at the emergency department at the QE2 since Saturday night, and they were just finding her a bed today in Bridgewater. There's still no beds in Halifax.
And
When there's a bed, they'll move her back. But anyway, I mean, it's, yeah.
You want to do what you can do.
So I do want to apologize because I had planned on attending, but
No problem.
money.
Okay, is that it?
Yes.
All right. For myself, I'm just going to be quick and brief.
I forgot what you were saying.
It's all right. You can just tell you went to a Unison board meeting.
Well, I did, but there was actually good stuff on the plate.
Can't you send us out the highlights?
Yeah, I can.
Okay,
All right.
if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind. I'll get it right here.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
I also had a week's vacation during the last month. And,
What?
Yeah. Even though I when I got back, I didn't feel like I ever went anywhere after I was home for a couple of days. Because as soon as I got home, I got off the boat and had 2 meetings. But anyway, I'll be brief. But I also attended the volunteer awards dinner, and I thought it was great that we were able to go. David, I don't know, you do a knock-up job down there in the islands, nominating everybody.
I had a bunch of stressful things happen to make myself feel better and nominated 21 people.
Yeah.
For 21 pages.
So,
This will make me feel better.
anyway, you filled the room. But that was all well.
Oh,
It's all good.
I could have doubled or even tripled that number.
You know, save some for next year.
I am, actually, I have another list.
Okay. But no, it's great that they're recognized for what they do.
Oh, it was so volunteer crazy. Thank you for saying that.
Well, it's good. Also on the 27th, attended Marcia's retirement here in this room, and you guys forgot about that.
She's that person.
I went to Elaine's, I didn't get to go to Marcia's.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a good turnout, and it was a nice event, and you know, I think Marcia's probably enjoying her retirement. I was talking to her husband about a week or so ago, and he retired the same day she did.
Really? Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't yell.
But he started up his own little part-time repair business for doing the small engine repair work.
Oh, cool.
So he hasn't really stopped working. He just changed positions. To
Something
some
like
places.
that.
So I asked him how Marcia was doing, and she's keeping busy. So I'm sure she'll do okay.
We'll keep her in mind for any committees that come up.
Is there anybody still working here at the office?
Cruel and unusual punishment.
Then on the 10th of May, I went to Indignation, did a presentation to the UNSM board, where Linda was, for the PBSC regarding the governance review that we're undertaking right now. On the 12th, I had a conference planning committee meeting with regards to the library conference that's coming up. We've had 2 meetings, and they've hosted both of them here in Digby, so which has been kind of nice since we started planning it. I think, in fairness to say, I think it's going to be a really good conference for this upcoming year for the libraries. And then I had a meeting here on the 16th with Roger House in regards to the ferry slip project.
And there too.
Ian's wife.
Yeah, no, thank God for them. Oh.
Anyway, they were here, and we had a good meeting with them to talk about that project. And you know, it's scaled back compared to what the initial one was. We've never ever did receive the second plan.
The second plan, I think they're still
Working on it?
tweaking it, 'cause the other day I saw both of them, and it looked to me like there was like, is it going to go here, or is it going to go here, like a foot? It was like, that's how much they were tweaking it.
Well, I think too, like one thing, and I'm waiting for the election to get over, but is to try to work with the province and trying to see what they can do with the ferry scheduling as far as loading the boat. Because prior to that, you never really used to hear of the problems that they're having today. Like, they wait till the boat's going to leave and then they load it. So it's always running late.
Also, there's various ferry captains who will load it not 5 minutes before. It's obvious that there's an overload. They don't load it. There's personnel issues with some of those captains.
Right. Well, I think
most are great.
That's got to get addressed because it's not fair to the people living down there, and also that's causing a lot of the congestion on these wharfs where the parking lot's limited on how many cars you can put there.
Business places too. Those wharfs do millions of dollars of business, and safety issues galore.
Right. So that's got to get addressed. So we got to get the election behind us first. And then, like I said, last week I attended the Atlantic Mayor's Conference. So that's it for me. We're now going to go in camera, so do you want to take a couple-minute break?
I just want to make sure, if you want a presentation from the spring UNSM, I can do that next week, or next month, I'm sure you don't want to hear that tonight.
No, we'll save it for next time.
But we just remember there's 2 presentations for next time.
Yeah, before we go in camera, I just got this today. It's an invitation to council to attend the Joe Casey Humanitarian Award Ceremony. It's going to be Friday, June 16th at 11 a.m. It's going to be behind the War Memorial Monument. And the rain location is going to be at Town Hall.
What date was that again?
That's Friday, June the 16th.
Friday.
11 a.m.
11 o'clock?
11 o'clock in the morning, yeah.
Friday, June 16th.
Said light refreshments will be served at the town hall after the ceremony. So that just came in today. So now we'll take a 5-minute recess, and then we'll go in camera after that.
And where's that located at the,
It's behind the War Memorial Monument.
down by the wharf?